10-minute tutorial has started. Any questions from the review or from the homework or from a quiz? Anything that you would like me to go over that you were saying, I have no idea how? Tell me where and what number. What's it from?
Number 1.
From the review?
Yeah, review.
From, okay. Number 1 in the unit conversions or in the, like here in sig figs?
Yeah.
Okay, this one here. How many sig figs? So the rule is, and there's probably going to be one something like this on your test. That would be 5 sig figs. This would be 1 sig fig. I ignore zeros going this way as long as they're to the left of a decimal. If they're to the right of a decimal point, like right there, I have to assume that these 4 zeros matter. Otherwise, why would they have put those zeros there? Because normally you would just end. What I have to assume, Adrian, is that whoever measured this found that there was an 8 there, a 9 there, a 7 there, a 0 when they measured it, a 0 when they measured it, a 0 when they measured it, and a 0 when they measured it, that their instrument was that accurate. So we would say that this has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, how many sig figs, folks? 7. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Next. Tell me what number, tell me what from, yeah.
The locked iPod.
Sorry? The locked iPod? A nice little unit conversion. Here's the number. How many seconds? So how will I start this? I write down what they gave me, always. It's going to be 2, 2, 2, 3, 6, 3, 9, 0, and that's in minutes. Now, some of you have been asking me, Mr. Dueck, how do I know what goes on top? How do I know what goes on the bottom? First of all, always realize that this is a fraction. It's over 1. I'm never going to put the over 1 there again if that's okay, but it is over 1, which means minutes is on top. And if I want it to cancel, then I put it on the bottom in my next fraction. It's going to go like this. Now, I want to end up in seconds. Do I have a conversion factor that will convert to seconds and minutes? If not, I'd have to hopscotch my way there. But I think I can go from minutes to seconds. I think 60 seconds is 1 minute. Now, what does that mean? Julie, my angel, if this number is on top, that means I'm going to multiply or divide. If the number was on the bottom, that means I'm going to divide. You know what? It's going to be this times 60. That's where 1a came from. Is that what you're wondering about, or all of it? Or now 1b, I'd walk through the same thing. How many? Oh, now I want to go into days. So instead of doing that, I would have... do you know how many minutes there are in a day? I still want minutes to cancel. I don't know how many minutes there are in a day, but what could I convert minutes to? Hours. And this time the 60 is going to be on the bottom. And then if I want to get rid of hours and have days, 1 day, you know what? It's going to be that number, divide by 60 and divide by 24. Whatever the heck that is, I'm going to trust my calculator can handle that. Weeks. Well, now I'm in days. How would I go into weeks? I think I could just add one more fraction. 1 week is 7 days, so I think I'm going to divide by 7, times by 1 all along the top, but I'd ignore that. And then what was my next copy? Years. I wouldn't go necessarily from weeks to years. A lot of kids want to go like this, and they want to say 52 weeks is not exact, actually. It's like 52.3 weeks, and that introduces errors. So instead, I would go from days to years, because it's 365 days is one, and that should give you it in years. If you use the weeks, you'd be a bit off compared to my answer, I think. Next! Any other questions from the quizzes, from the homework, from the conversion sheet, from the review, from anything, from graphing? So, what do you need to hand in today? So you need to hand this Unit 1 review in. I'll give you a couple of minutes to do that. I've only got about 60% of these handed in, so try and get these handed in. You do not need to hand in quiz 2 if you were here last day and you wrote your score down. If you were away last day, or you forgot the quiz at home, or you redid the quiz, then you need to hand it in, but you must mark it yourself. Where is there an answer key? What's my website? pitmath.com. If you go there, trust me, there's an answer key. In other words, if you give me a quiz and there isn't a score, I hand it right back to you. I don't even look at it. I really want you to learn from your mistakes. Okay? So let me pause for a second here. Got another question, and I got 4 minutes. Sure. From where? Review?
Same review.
Yep.
Except number 2, the adding.
Here?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, someone last class asked me, hey, Mr. Dueck, could you do another adding in scientific notation like from the quiz 3A? And so the surprise for you, I didn't put one like that on the test. Okay. There is adding with decimals, and so your question is good. I didn't put an adding with scientific notation, go unscientific notation, rewrite them vertically and do the sig figs. Instead, we just have to rewrite them vertically and do the sig figs. So 2A, for example, adding, I would go like this. I would rewrite them vertically, 16.13. And you'll notice, Adrian, I line up the decimal carefully, and I line up all the columns carefully. This is one time, you have to be neat, I know, 10.764 and 4.56. By writing it that way, I notice that the first column that is a guess is right there, which means I'm going to round to that column, which ends up being 2 decimal places, which is not sig fig, 2 decimal places. I would type this in as is, 16.13 plus 10.764 plus 4.561. I'm going to round to that column. Did I type it in wrong?
You went 4.561.
Oh, because I thought that was a 1. Duh. Second function. And note to self, do that or put question marks. Or that's why I use question marks normally. Good point. Thank you. So I do that, and I get 41. Oh, that makes a big difference, because now is that 5 going to stay a 5 or become a 6? And I know that's what I'm rounding to, because that's the second column, which is right there. So I would write 31.45, which I hope is what I had in my answer key. I hope. Did I? Whew. Okay, that's how you add and subtract. And you'll notice what I didn't do ever was count sig figs. For multiplying, 4 sig figs, 2 sig figs, I'm going to go to 2 sig figs. 1 sig fig, 3 sig figs, I'm going to go to 1 sig fig. But for adding and subtracting, I tend to write them out vertically. And again, some of you have told me, Mr. Dueck, I've spotted how I can kind of imagine it vertically in my head and spot how. Go ahead. Although on a test, I'd probably still write it out the long way and do it carefully and, be a little more paranoid anyhow. Any other questions? We're all happy, Joy? Okay, so I got to give you some instructions, but let me pause the video first.